For inspiration and thought exchange brought to us by today's speaker, we invite everyone to address our assembly with words of inspiration, lessons learned, or passionate ideas. Every opinion expressed here is strictly that of the person who gives it. Let us consciously and lovingly agree to disagree if it does not resonate with us. Today's topic is When Things Fall Apart, a New Chapter is Emerging. Alexander is a transformational soul coach, helping people release limiting beliefs, release stuck energy, release fear, release worry, and release sickness, and restoring them to a newfound glory of love, like inspiration, confidence to really bring forth a brighter future. And I have a quick story to tell about last time Alexander was here in November. He was giving messages, and he called on Diane and I with a message, and he said, "Are you guys traveling?" Diane said, "No." I said, "Yeah." Well, we were going like in 3 or 4 weeks to Frankenmuth for Christmas, up to the Christmas store. It was November. We were excited about it, a weekend trip. And he said, "Well, you're going to feel like you're not going to that place. Your reality is going to shift, and it's going to change things dramatically." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So
and
I don't know.
Somewhere else.
And you're going to go somewhere else. I'm like, so Diane and I thought we're very metaphysical, so we're like, okay, we're going to get there. We're gonna shift timelines, or we're gonna metaphysically feel like we're not in our regular life, and we're gonna get some kind of message that's gonna change our lives. And me being a protector and a safety guy said, and I have to drive safely, okay, because that could change our life too. Anyway, so 2 weeks later, we get a call from her cousin. We were in her cousin's will to get her dog. Her dog was only 2, and we knew the dog would outlive her because she was very ill. And so we had to cancel our Frankenmuth trip, and we ended up in Virginia with another dog in our lives, which we were not planning on. We thought she had at least 5 more years to live, and here we were. We never did make it to Frankenmuth, and yes, it did change our life, and Cookie has made a change in our life. So you were spot on, and we didn't even know. We thought it was metaphysical. It was literal. So anyway, so I'd like to welcome Alexander Fox with his inspirational talk today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Sometimes the messages that we get are not always clear at the moment, so sometimes they do happen later. Thank you for having me here. And thank you for choosing to be here, and not just at the Church of the Angels, but at this time of life. And before I begin, I want to apologize, because last time I spoke here, I said I was going to stay and grow and be in Cleveland. That was a lie. I think deep down I really wanted it, and then I think like on a deeper level than that, it wasn't supposed to happen. So I'm going to get into that. So when I was growing my business here, having opportunities, like things were flowing, things were great. I was at a nursing home doing sound healing and meditation. Had a partner, business partner. We were doing events for yoga and Reiki. And then I was going to teach Reiki at a yoga studio. And then had a few other opportunities, and everything was great. Everything was flowing. I was very happy. And then after just a few months, everything started to fall apart. The guy at the nursing home ghosted me after about, seeing him and his patients and coworkers for like 2 times a week for about 2 months, and then just stopped connecting with me. I was like, okay, this is not normal. And then I noticed that my business partner wasn't doing some internal healings, and she wasn't fully present all the time. So that was also another big sign of like, wow, okay, this is not in alignment anymore. And then I had the owner of a yoga studio lie to me 3 separate times. And I was like, you're a yogi. Like, we're supposed to be in truth and honesty, and Just certain things were just not adding up, and I was like, okay, this is done. And then there was like almost nothing left. So I was like, God, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm really confused, I'm really lost. Like, I am surrendering to you. And that's the one thing that I do, is just pray and I let go of control, and I stop controlling the outcome of things. Like, I'm just like, okay, I'm not pursuing anything, I'm not gonna connect with anyone to try to start anything new. I'm just present and just gonna listen and just watch. And then literally within the next 24 hours, my friend gives me a call and she's like, hey, let's host retreats in Austin, Texas. And I'm like, that sounds really exciting, but what about New York and Los Angeles like we first planned? and I knew something was off, but something else was also on. And then literally 3 minutes later, I see a Texas license plate driving down Mayfield Road in Mayfield Heights. And I was like, okay, this is a big sign. And then I was even going on a first date, and she calls me and she's like, hey, I'm gonna be an hour late. I was like, I'm already on my way. Like, what am I gonna do for the next hour? So I go to the Cleveland Heights Pavilion to watch hockey. I've not done that in a long time. And something told me to go to the concession stand, and I'm like, I don't eat Snickers or chips or any of that stuff. But still, go to the concession stand. I look at the menu, and it says, Big Texas Cinnamon Roll. And I said, okay, loud and clear, I'm going back to Texas. So I'm on my way, I'm traveling down south, and spent time in North Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia. And then I found my way to Houston, where I have cousins and uncle and aunt that live in Sugar Land. And I'm living with my uncle for a few days. And I was like, Uncle, how did you do it? How did you move from Cleveland, Ohio at like 25, 26 and just stayed in Houston your entire life? And he goes, the money's better here, the weather's better here, the food. And, I miss my family, but I knew it felt like it was a trap for me because I wasn't fully happy being there. Like, I could come and visit and enjoy myself for a little bit. Like, it was a vacation and just a loving time, but I knew here, it's like where I was meant to be. And then I met 3 other people from Ohio, one who went to St. Ed's, one who was from Findlay, and one who was from Bedford. They all didn't know each other, but they all said the same thing. I left Cleveland, I never went back. And I was like, wow, okay, that's no coincidence. I met 4 people within like 4 or 5 days, all telling me the same thing. Part of me was kind of bummed too, because I really wanted to help people here in Cleveland, more so on a physical level. But no, that's okay. And then a part of me was still kind of grasping with the whole idea of, all right, this is happening. It's going to be Texas for a long while. And I have to really let go of the fact that, Cleveland's not meant to be right now. And it's gotten a lot better grasping with that. It's a lot easier. And then when I went back to Texas, I tried to go back to the old things, 'cause that's just what I knew. Try to go to my old job again, my old friends, even try to get to the same spot that I lived at, and all of that was open. And everything was building and flowing, and of course, just like in Cleveland, they all started to fall apart in their own ways. And then I was super clueless and didn't know what to do, so what did I do? God, I'm confused, I am lost. Please show me the way, because I have no idea what's going on. And it is okay to admit that you have no idea what's going on. But if you have this unwavering faith in your angels and God, Goddess, Source, Universe, whichever you like to call it, and it is working out for your best and highest, where you can be most happy, you can be most joyful, being of service, being in your gifts and passions, and to really live a life in your alignment, then it's going to happen. But patience is key. I feel like I've been a hustler since I was 10 years old making money. And ever since I turned 29, I had to let all of that go. I'm 31 now. Because I used to try to make money every day, and now it's like, okay, that's not the case anymore. Anyways, when I let go, there was a day where I was about to go grocery shopping, and I was going to go to Natural Grocers, my favorite place. And then I get this message saying, no, go to Central Market. Okay, there's a few different locations, and they're like, the one closest to your house. And I was like, it's more expensive, more upscale. And I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. And then the next message was, no, go to Central Market at 2 p.m. Okay. So I go, it's 2 p.m. I go to the pineapple stand. And then all of a sudden I see a friend of mine, Jess. I haven't seen in over a year. She like looks at me, looks away. And then she's like, Alexander? I was like, yeah, I'm back. She's like, we're talking about it. And then all of a sudden she's like, hey, you should volunteer at this yoga studio. And I was like, yeah? She's like, you work like 2 or 3 hours a week. You get free yoga, free sound healing, free breath work, free cacao, get to meet really incredible people. And I was like, that's sounds awesome, sounds legit. Mm-hmm. So then literally scheduled an in-person interview, and then I got the job right on the spot. And I said, okay, this feels so good and light, and there was no point for me to question it. So that voice telling me to go to Central Market at 2 p.m. was the catalyst in other things that are happening. Now I'm going to be co-hosting events at 2 different locations. This yoga studio, Flow Yoga, which I'm eternally grateful for you guys. And it'll be like breath work and energy healing, sound healing, and meditation. And it's pretty amazing. So that's just like one thing. And then the next thing is, when I was looking for my new place, I was getting interviewed, and then I go and meet the landlord. On my way there, I saw 2 Ohio license plates in Austin, Texas. Automatically knew, anytime I see Ohio, like anywhere, I'm like, I'm going home, or I'm finding my new home. And it's just the confirmation for me to sit back and relax and just trust. But my landlord was like, hey, do you have an office space? And I was like, no, I don't have any clients. Like, I'm not gonna do that yet, it doesn't make sense. And he goes, well, you're not gonna do in-person sessions here. I don't want randos at my house. Fair enough, fair enough. And then a few weeks later, he asked me the same question. And I said, no, it's not in the cards right now. And then like 4 days later, a new guy I just met was like, hey, do you have an office space? No. And I was like, okay, universe, if you really want me to have this office space, let me know. And about like a few days later, I go to this one event for a fundraising, and this one woman does like a little acupuncture session on my ears and a little sound healing, and had like a few minute conversation with her, and then that was it. She even helped me cry a little bit because I knew things were releasing. I was stepping into a new soul, and then like I saw her again like a week later. Talked to her for a few minutes about how to make cacao and then date milk. If you guys want to know how to make date milk, contact me after. It's delicious. And then a few days later, she makes a post on Facebook, and I'm like, okay, she's looking for someone to rent out one of her office spaces. And I said, oh, okay. And I threw my hat in the ring. She said she was going to give me a call. And then all of a sudden, I start seeing Washington, the state of Washington license plates. My friend telling me that 3 of his best friends live in Washington. And then I kept seeing it like on Instagram, and I'm thinking, do I gotta move to Washington now? This is unbelievable, because usually when I get signs to places, I gotta go there or visit there or something. And then one afternoon I'm just driving, and then I see an area code pop up on my phone, Olympia, Washington. And it is that woman who made the post on Facebook. And then now I'm part of a wellness team, and we have 9 individuals, 3 people who are doctors, 1 in MD, 1 physician MD, 1 previous heart surgeon, and then 6 other amazing holistic practitioners. And then we just all come together and just do our best to bring new life and healing and love and just a better foundation to really grow in Austin, Texas. And that's all because, I trusted the signs and I didn't get too impatient or thinking like I had to make an impulse decision. I surrendered control and just allowed the things to magnetically, come to me. And, sometimes that's not easy. So just remember to breathe, remember your practices and your routines. And yeah. And what else is happening? So even in the midst of chaos and you think things are falling apart, that's when something new is arising. And you can't be afraid for the new, because we are energetic beings having a human experience, and change is constant. It is inevitable. So embrace in the unknowns. Trust yourself that even if you do fail or you may not like it, do your best to see a brighter side. Find that love, find that passion, find the lessons, find the growth within it. It's just preparing you for what's to come next. So don't be afraid. I've been afraid too long of just trying to trust the soul. It brought me to Costa Rica, it brought me to Peru, it brought me to see what other people are doing in this reality and how they're really living their divine purpose. And yeah. So trust yourselves, trust in the universe. It's all working out for you. I know it, I feel it, I see it, I sense it. Even if I can't even fully see what the timeline is, you don't have to worry about the future. Just be present now. And more things will happen for you. Okay. And I leave this with you. The Spirit's love and blessings. Thank you.
Questions, Kelly?
Yes, Kelly.
Alexander, you are so on purpose with following the breadcrumbs and connecting the dots. I wish everybody, I've done that as a child, would take the leap of faith to go to the next breadcrumb or connect the next dot, because sometimes fear will hold us back. And you are a typical perfect example of living on purpose by trusting the next breadcrumb, connecting the next dot, and then inspiring others to do so. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you saying that.
Lydia?
I just wanted to say that one of your last talks was on intuition, and you live in it. And it's just so awesome that you expressed and share with us the way it works. And I from your talk and from learning from all the collective about intuition, I mean, it's really works. I mean, it's really there. It's part of our lives now.
Mm-hmm.
And I just loved how. And by the way, Central Market's one of my favorite grocery stores, and it's not as much as you think. They have really good sales too.
They do, yeah.
Just so you know.
No, you're right.
So it's Lydia the coupon.
That's right. That's right.
Texans know what's up.
I love that store.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Sure.
Mm,
So I have a geography question.
for sure.
So, I feel like our church has a strong belief in spirituality, and we're all pretty grounded. But some of us are still a little bit hesitant about putting it out there because of judgment. And I'm just wondering, do you find, in your opinion, whether Ohio is more accepting of the spirituality movement, or now I know you're in Austin, which is different than a lot of the rest of Texas, but from what I hear, I was born in Texas, by the way. But anyway.
Oh, wow.
I just wondered how it is comparatively. Like, do you have to kind of like grit your teeth when you say you're a spiritualist, or is it all just?
When I'm in Austin, I can fully be myself at all times. In Cleveland, most of the time I can be myself, but there's definitely certain times where I gotta like pick my battles and just kind of know like where other people are at and how open they are. And also like reading conversations, because I know a few people, like I can talk spiritual, and then like all of a sudden like a person over there or someone over there will talk about something totally random, and then my conversation gets dropped immediately. So it also feels like sometimes the universe wants to like, let's not talk to it about these people, which is okay. I let that go immediately. it's just like it's not their time to hear it. It's just whatever I was able to say is definitely enough. And but still, don't be afraid to put yourselves out there. Like your experience is your truth, and the more that we can come from a place of just peace and balance and community and love, and just understanding where that person is at in their life, but not judging them for being right or wrong, and just allowing them to be, but still, doing your thing as well, then that's how we can like raise consciousness, because it allows them to see like where you're coming from, and you're not trying to like push your beliefs strongly on anyone, you're just sharing it. Then somehow something will click for them in the near future, and it's just like, oh wow, I didn't think about it like this or that, and then the synchronicities start to happen more.
Thank you for understanding my not very well worded question.
I thought that was great. I didn't have any worries.
Well, I just was trying to, I'm not trying to throw stones at Cleveland, I just wondered if it's, we're all.
You can kind of. Or stones at Cleveland. I understand. I see it.
But I'm not,
It's
I just wonder how the rest of, if we are just our own little nugget here, or if other places are more accepting all around than just our little nugget of the church of the churches.
yeah. There's gonna be pockets of spaces here in Cleveland that are on the same wavelength, same frequency, but there's like infinite levels to this. Like the people I was working with in Cleveland, like we were on this level for a few months, and then someone was here, someone else was here, and then I'm like not on the same wavelength as them anymore. So that will cause things to change, and that's okay. Just do what feels good, loving, and light for you to make sure that you're still in your sovereignty, in your power. Because if you have other things trying to control your energy outside of you, life will be tough. Yeah, for sure.
Also,
Kathy.
you can practice intuition. I used to work at John Carroll, and I lived in Chagrin Russell area. So there's a bunch of different ways to get there. And every morning I would let Spirit choose the way I was gonna go. I'd come to a 3-way stop or a 4-way stop, and I'd say, okay, which way do I go? And it was really interesting, because I found some really interesting stuff that way that I would never ever found. But it's good practice to just do it with simple things.
Yes.
It's good practice.
Yeah, absolutely so. Yeah. The more you can practice intuition, just listening, and just, even with like food selections, or which way you should go, or, oh, should I go to this park today or that park today? And then just, one quick story? Or do I have time?
Sure.
Okay. There was one time where I was in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I was gonna get dinner and watch a baseball game. And then I could have gone downtown and gotten sushi, or I could have gone to the outskirts and get French fries. Those are the only two things I wanted. So like I'm at the subway, and then I'm was like, okay, sushi. And I got like this heaviness feeling. I was like, okay, no sushi. I go the other way, French fries. And I was like, well, that feels light. My heart center's happy with that. So I go and get French fries. And then I was like, okay, now which restaurant do I get French fries at? There's like 4 decisions. So I walked into the first one, heavy, not eating here. Second one, even heavier. That's not it. And the third one, I walk in there, I was like, oh, it's light. And then there was, 2 seats open. And then I go there, I get tater tots. I'm watching the Cleveland Indians play in the playoffs against the Yankees. And then all of a sudden, this guy comes up next to me, and then we just start talking. He looks like a truck driver, but then mentions, I was a Buddhist monk for 10 years. So then we just had this amazing conversation. And then he taught me about this one mantra. It's like Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, and I believe that's to release any blockages or stagnant energy that's keeping you from living your best and highest self. Yeah, and that helped change my life. So you never know. Just it's feelings, it's energies, and it's okay to question it, but don't forget the feeling that you had with it before you question it. from my experience. Just putting that out there too. Okay, anyone else?
And that's a really good phrase, and I always start that if I'm a little unsure in my experience, because they can't say, oh, that's not your experience.
Yes.
You know,
Mhm.
it is.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that and reiterating that too, because that is very important. It's your experience, it's your life. It's going to be totally different from anyone else's. If you don't do you, you won't be done. There's only one version of you. It's your own unique experience.
One last thing.
Yes,
If-
go ahead.
If you're doubting it's a sign, because clearly there's 20 million signs out there. You've got one sign to the next sign to the next sign. But if you're ever doubting it's a sign, don't, because if it feels like a sign, it's a sign.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Alexander. And I think we learned there's no such thing as a coincidence, right?